Okay, so we drove up to Dallas. We went to the Dallas Comic Con.
Walked in, went to the convention, kind of found out where we're going. Huge lines, just huge lines waiting to get in. Tons of people.
You can always tell which way to go whenever you're going to a Comic Con. Just follow the person in front of you that's either dressed like Doc Ock, Spider-Man, or Superman.
It was incredible. I was not expecting that many. And they were talking about how it was, you know, rivaled to San Diego, and I was in shock. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Packed. There were so many people, just a press of humanity. It was, you could smell it, man. It was like just palpable heat.
Like, there were the comic book nerds who were comic book nerds. Like, that's all that they really cared about. You know, there's the general nerd. Oh, I like Firefly, I like comic books, I like Alice Cooper, and My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
The people watching is worth the price of admission, for sure.
The costumes at the Comic Con were really, really good, for the most part. There were some, you know, very good costumes. There were some very bad costumes that people tried. It's like, I feel bad for this person because they tried really hard, but it just doesn't look good.
Good costumes. There were some really nice ones. It's a convention, you know, so you're going to see the whole range of people who are just slapping stuff together. You know, the little fanboy guy with just green paint and a green bodysuit being the Hulk. Like, dude, you are real thin.
The costumes range from amazing to what were you thinking?
And then there were the Star Trek nerds, which I didn't actually see too many of. There were the Doctor Who nerds, which I'm okay with, because most of the nerds there were Firefly nerds, actually.
You saw a lot of Firefly costumes, which is to be expected when they had, at one point they had every main person in Firefly there. A couple people had to drop out.
Yeah, there was some really neat costumes. The ladies were bringing some definite talent. Some of the X-Men costumes that were out there, those were very well done.
Had the Stormtroopers, had the Rebel Alliance people from Star Wars, had the Wookiees.
Like, there was also, like, most of the people that were in costumes, they were just themselves, maybe some like face paint or something. But there was a couple of people. There was a guy there who was an AT walker. Is that the right thing? ATSD? ATST.
Saw a bunch of Ewoks. Saw a bunch of what was supposed to be Ewoks.
If I can't see somebody's face, that creeps me out.
But I think my favorite were the little kids dressing up. They seemed really excited to be in their costumes. I think that's what did it more for me.
Like, it was cool, but I couldn't see his face, and I didn't want to have anything to do with him.
Then you've got the whole people who go all out. Like, you can see there was the dude that was dressed as Cable. That guy, like, lifestyle-wise, you gotta, because he was thick, man. His arms were as big as my legs.
He's dressed as the Tick. He was about as thick as my entire arm was, right? Like, he was kind of just a thin rail guy. And I think he was a ginger, which just kind of creeps me out too. Like, I'm not talking about, like, you know, like Irish. I'm talking like ginger, like pale face. Like, it looks like his hair was burning him, like, because he was a little red around and it looked like his hair was burning him. Like, he was allergic to his own gingerness.
A lot of cool. That's always kind of really fun about going to conventions, is you're gonna get the serious fans there. The ones who pay attention to those meticulous details, and that's kind of neat about the convention. You'll see some really clever costumes that pay a lot of attention to, like, some aspect of that character that they love.
There was a very attractive woman dressed as Poison Ivy.
I ruined these pants. Like,
there's some good stuff vendor-wise.
The vendors were very. There were a lot of different types.
The retro gaming stuff's always cool.
Couple video game spots. There was one, Game Over had a spot at a booth there. Fairly reasonable prices at theirs.
There was one booth that me and a friend stopped at, and They had the old Transformer toys. We were lamenting the fact that Megatron is no longer a gun now. He is a tank or something.
And then on the other side of it, you had the guys along the back wall that were just like, you know, that up-and-coming artist that's trying to get noticed and stuff, and so it was kind of neat to see that blend.
There were a lot of authors, there were a lot of, you know, artists and that kind of thing.
You had the artists, which I always enjoy. Someone who drew like a really cool Heisenberg. Kevin J. Anderson had a booth.
Kevin J. Anderson was there, which I always think is great. He's such a personable author. This guy, I mean, he's an established science fiction author of stuff. And then of course you had the t-shirt hawkers that were just, you know, skyscraper size, you know, booth that's got just t-shirts all over it.
But there was one booth that had a whole bunch of robes that covered every aspect of nerddom.
We came across another one who just had somebody else who just had like lots of old toys, Star Wars, Star Trek toys. And then it seemed like an afterthought. He had a box of Nintendo games. He obviously I think knew what they were worth, and it seemed intentionally inflated the prices.
There was a sword booth where they were selling like lightsabers. They were selling the lightsabers, and it was really annoying. Everybody was like smacking them around, and like I get distracted real easily, so all these flashing lights.
GameStop was right there in the middle, in the very front, with their, you know, video games and everything. They had a real big booth. They probably took up 2 booth spots. Had some pretty ladies holding guns around the outside. The big Gears of War.
Was there a tomato dance?
There was a tomato. It was the funky tomato dance. Previously, there was a dance that I used to do called the penguin dance. I have not done the penguin dance for 5 years now.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
And so, John starts prompting me to do the tomato dance, or to do the penguin dance right in the middle of Comic-Con. I said, that's not happening. It's not happening at all. And he gets this really, like, butthurt hangdog look on his face, like, why would you do it? But I said, okay, I'll do the funky tomato. And he said, what's the funky tomato? Okay, you do this. Okay. And then you put your hands on your head like this. I'm a funky tomato. Funky tomato. I'm looking at you, sir. Funky tomato. Did not help me get any friends at all. And there was a guy who was staring at me and walked by. And I don't like it when people, like, I'm like a dog, don't look me in the eyes. I get like really like aggressive toward you.
The first time I did the show, I did the trick. I just said, I just hope he doesn't hate me. He loves this trick.